It seems we're staring straight down the barrel of World War III and Civil War. They might probably both go hand in hand. Maybe that was the plan. It seems that the tensions in this country are so high, I don't know if we can avoid, at this point, a civil war. The hatreds are off the charts. This World War III business, it seems like the leaders of Europe are trying their best to draw us into war with Russia. It's like they want it. It's like this is what they want. Is this insane? It seems to be what they're aiming for. And furthermore, then there's China. Oh, yeah. We got more ways to slide into World War III than Carter's got peanuts, or had peanuts back in the day. Good morning, New Days. We are in a very perilous situation here. And I just want to bring everybody up to speed on what we're facing and the potential inevitability of it, but there are things you can do. We'll talk about actions you can take, preps you can make, and prayers for goodness sake. I just come up with that ad lib. But guys, these are the things we've got to start paying attention to right now, because, it really does look like a lot of these events going on in Europe, maybe by design. Now, Russia did have 3 MiG-31s flying into NATO airspace for 12 minutes. But all this drone activity is kind of suspicious. And I would give credit to Steve Popper over the Popper Report for pointing out that there's no photographs of all these drones. It's really suspicious when you start thinking about them from that standpoint. Oh, yeah. Think about all the drones we've seen flying around in this country back about a year ago, not quite a year ago, the so-called New Jersey drones, which were everywhere, and everybody was photographing them, but we were told wink, 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 nod, 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 nothing to worry about. But in this case, they're using this as a pretext practically for war with Russia. The only thing we're missing is a major banner that's not so true. You know what I mean by that? Think about what that means. An FF event, major explosion. They seem to have no shortage for means to come up with these, and they want them. Almost every war we've gotten into over the past umpty-ump years has involved something like that. It's like, you want a war, well, you invent an excuse for it. Why do we want a war with Russia? Why do we want to poke the bear? That is borderline insane. The nation's got more nukes than anybody. And they got a dead hand switch. Oh, but we're so sure now. We got Palantir. Yes, we can manage all the data and find all their stuff. We were having trouble locating Russian forces, a few weeks ago. Oh, well, we can take care of all these things. Wink, nod. This is crazy. So I would suggest this. These leaders of Europe are wanting to pull us into this mess, seemingly. The ones that are warning all their people, they don't serve the people of Europe. They don't serve us. They serve this dream of a globalist empire. Yeah, the kind fostered by, among many others, the House of Klaus. Yeah, it is a young global leaders club, which had many students, including Tony Blair. Of course, his son is the guy who's coming up with the mark that they're trying to now enforce upon the United Kingdom by 2029. And there's a petition there. So if you are in the United Kingdom, I highly encourage you to find and sign that petition. There's some of the action we're going to talk about. Now, we talked about this stuff in my last live video here. I'm not even going to share any articles. I'm just coming from the heart tonight. I'm just going to talk to you because this, I really need to go to bed, but this is, I can't sleep if I did because I got to get this off my chest. We got to bring this out and talk about it as much as we can on this platform, which don't let you talk too much, if you know what I mean. But you can read between the lines and get where I'm going, even for some things I don't say. Yikes. Yes. Who all were who were the proteges of Klaus Schwab? Well, like I said, Tony Blair was one. Emmanuel Macron. Oh, yeah, where's he? Head of France. Yeah, Justin Trudeau. Would you believe Gavin Newsom? No, you wouldn't think Gavin Newsom, would you? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Angela Merkel. Leaders throughout the West. And they all share that big vision, not just government leaders, but leaders of companies, organizations, all trying to get us to this big global system where you will have no privacy. You will own nothing. You'll be happy. Now, you may recall in my last video, I replayed some of the videos, some of his minions, one in particular, talking about how this notion of religion and you got a soul or you got a free will is all just hallucinations. There's nothing to it. And he, along with his big daddy, who's retired from his position and passed the baton, is, they were talking about putting implants in people, computer chips. So you could be our robot. Borg, inducted into the hive. Yeah, then you would really have no soul if you agree to take that. No free will. They'd take all that away from you if you allow it. And somehow I think that may be connected to this thing that's been ushered out by the son of Blair, Tony Blair's boy. He's coming up. He's got the company that's running this venture. Yeah. So where are we going with all this? It could be that here's the one way to look at it. They don't like the people in their own countries, and the people in the countries are starting to wake up to this because they've allowed the doors to people to be thrown wide open to people that did not love them to come in and take over. They should have vetted their immigrants too. But no, just throw the doors open and let anybody and everybody come running in. Well, pull them in. And now suddenly they're complaining about, now they got this, they created their problem. Now they got their solution, which gets them where they really want to go. Hegelian dialectic. So there we are, my friends. We are in I'll read the chat room a little bit in a minute. We are in a pickle because the United States is part of NATO. Now, we thought Trump was going to pull us away from all this stuff. But he seems to be orbiting around it a little too close. Not quite in yet. But here's another action you can take. Go to freedomrestorationfoundation.org. Go to the Action Center tab. Scroll down to the bottom past all those antiquated alerts. I need to get a new webmaster for it. And you will see in there how to contact your Congress critters. And they really aren't even deserving to be called a critter in most cases. You will find all kind of means how to email them, how to write them, how to phone call them. It's all there. Where else do you find this information? I put that up there myself. And the fact that I called that is probably why my views got stomped hard on this platform. They don't like it when you're both conservative and an activist and a rocket scientist. It's a little too much for them. They don't want my word getting out. That's why you need to share my content. There's another thing you can do. If I'm allowed to stay on the platform, this video may get me knocked out. I hope not. I'm trying not to say anything outside the bounds, but that doesn't mean that it will be received with great joy. Because what I'm talking about is a stick in the eye of the House of Klaus. Write your Congress critters, write the president, call the White House. So we don't need to be part of this. We don't need to get engaged in European affairs. In fact, we ought to get out of NATO. Bye-bye. And furthermore, we ought to get out of the UN. In fact, we ought to tell the UN to pack their bags and sail across the ocean. They could set up over in The Hague or somewhere else. You know, that's where I'd like to be going. Just so, why are we paying you guys all this money so you can subvert us? Oh, yeah. And that's what's happening. This whole Civil War aspect of this stuff, all the hatred in this country, any country's going to have the disaffected who are going to favor all these different isms like communism, socialism, whatever. Favorite ism of the day. There's always going to be that little disaffected minority, but what they've done is they've fanned the flames and grown it into a large crowd. Now, most people have woken up to this and started going, no, we don't need this. We don't want this. And they probably anticipated that too. So we'll come back to that later. But however, on that side, our country is now greatly divided because they went into our school systems and taught this nonsense first at the college level and then down into the school systems. Tell them, oh yeah, if you do this, this is what's needed to make life fair. Everything's unjust. It's not fair. Freedom. They even had the idea that freedom was bad. Oh my gosh. Yes. Totally attacking everything good and wholesome, totally attacking the entire American dream, everything we stood for, putting out the narrative the United States was the worst thing that ever existed on the planet. They forgot to go look at Stalin and Mao Zedong and Pol Pot and all the people that are pushing daisies as a result of their democide. Oh, no. Oh, but that was good because it created a better system. Oh, yeah, right. Why would all the people always trying to get out of those countries if they were so dang great and wonderful? Why is it Venezuela such a great and wonderful place today? So, we could go on and on and on about that. Yeah, the U.S. government, I'm not a big fan of it either. So we'll get around to that in a minute. So what they've done is they've went in and they've taken over our schools. They went in our government agencies and used them to promote, well, it's kind of any agency like that's going to want to be self-perpetuating. When people get in power, they want to keep that power and grow it and metastasize it even after the user outlive their usefulness. You hadn't seen a lot in the past about government agencies getting shut down. Maybe the shutdown we're in now will help some of that get moved along. But that's one way you get a deep state, right? It's kind of a natural progression of power corrupting. And absolute power absolutely corrupting within certain spheres. And, everybody thinks, oh, these government agencies are doing us good. But they're regulating all these bad companies that would poison us. No, they're not. Those companies are still poisonous. All this crap you buy in a store, the big company stuff, not the little company stuff, but the big company stuff. And they've been trying to stamp out the little companies. Wasn't it funny when the last went around that mom and pop shops, little store had to close, but Wally World, where big crowds gather, was okay. Churches, oh no, you can't meet. But bars, oh, where everybody's coming in and out, oh yeah, that's fine. Is there a dichotomy there? Is there a vector in who was getting empowered with all this? The big guy, which they tell us they're not for. Oh yeah, right. They're trying to create a stratification in our society to get rid of the middle class, people who stand firm on what they believe in. They want to make everybody either uber rich and sucked into them or uber poor and dependent upon them. Oh yeah, we want Uncle Sugar's money. Give me money so I can sit on my couch and play my twiddle my thumbs and play a game. Um, forget people having pride and integrity. Oh yeah, that goes back to the soul thing that they were talking against, right? Uh, so here's the problem. They don't like anybody who don't want what they want. If you're not on board with where they want to take the world, they want to get rid of you. Vladimir Putin is not on board with them. Now, he's done a lot of bad things, but was he goaded into it? What happened in 2014 in Ukraine? The president got put out. Oh yeah, the one that favored Russia. Um, and NATO has been pushing right up on the borders of Russia, something that they were promised wouldn't happen. And Russia is paranoid about that kind of stuff. I've told you all that in the past. Really paranoid because they've been invaded by Napoleon and by Hitler and by many others. And they're just on a flat plane, makes it easy to invade them. They like to control the choke points further out. And if they're not controlling, they like to have some assurance that we're not going to be coming down their throat, but they don't see that. I don't think the Europeans could do it, but still, they got that paranoia over there. And right or wrong, they have a lot of people have lost their lives in the last 3 years. And that's an ugly thing. That's an ugly thing. I'm not justifying what went down there by any shape or form of imagination. I'm just telling you where we're going with all this. Now, suddenly, what they're not telling you is that Ukraine's getting whipped hard. They're getting bombed. All these missile attacks and drone attacks. They say it's happening, but they don't talk about how bad it really is on the ground in Ukraine. Instead, they like to point to the refineries that Ukraine took out in Russia, which they've done all of that too. But the cost of lives and infrastructure is off the charts. It's really sad that we're at this point today. But because Ukraine is actually probably losing, this is probably why Europe is suddenly getting up in the hackles about it all. So maybe they want this war because they don't want somebody who's not part of their game leading. So they got problems with us too. That's what you got to be aware of. And the people in Europe who don't want no part of what they're trying to put out. And that's probably the majority of the people there because they probably woke up to it. And some of you may be in the chat room tonight. I get a lot of Europeans in here. And that's why I said the first thing y'all might want to do is sign that petition so that Keir Starmer don't buy off on Blair's son's ID system. Because where all this leads is into an authoritarian state that has absolute power beyond imagination. All these people over here pushing for these agendas, which they think is going to create justice and all this stuff, don't realize the shackles are trying to put upon us. They don't even conceive it, what they're asking for. Forgive them, Lord, they know not what they do. Literally, in this case, they've been blindsided and spoon-fed a lot of hooey in colleges. I've been to college. Yeah, I wouldn't be buying such hooey because real life taught me before I went to college what was going down. Because I was on that side before I got exposed to real life and saw what it really was. Before I was in the military and I saw how inefficient government was. So, uh, well, Lena, I got to tell you something. What do you think China is today? The House of Klaus, where they wanted to go. Oh, yeah. This stuff's all over. They tell you China's a communist country, but if you look at really how it's structured, how the communists work, you know what pure communism is? Pure communism is based on the idea that from each according to their abilities to each according to their need. Sounds great on paper. And notionally, that sounds great. You do what you can according to what you can do, and then you acquire only what you need according to what you need. Problem is, it don't work on either side. And every so-called communist country has known that, so they've had to implement some other type of authoritarian system to transact everything. You look in China, and you will discover that they don't have retirements and all the safety nets we have here in this country. Those people are in desperate situations over there. It's not what people think it is. Not at all. Never was, never would be, nor could it be, because human nature just don't work that way. Anytime you try to devise anything that goes against human nature, it don't work. Humans are territorial. This whole idea of no property. The only way that works is if you get that implant and you become a man robot. I am a robot. You are a bird. You're in the hive. What I've always told you, the proposition of my channels was, if you survive, thrive, and stay out of the hive. And that's really staying alive, because once you go in the hive, oh yeah, they may tempt you. Oh yeah, look, you'll have steak every night in their matrix. It's going to be great and wonderful. We'll satisfy all your desires. But once they got you, they'll just turn all that off. They don't need to support all that, because then once they got you, they got you. It's a trap. It's a trap. Just like this whole World War III thing, especially Europe trying to pull us in, the war with Russia. Now, they don't like Vladimir Putin. Now, Vladimir Putin's not been a good boy all the way around neither. There's a lot of people that just because they disagree with him take flying lessons, free flying lessons, right out a window. They usually haven't taken the landing lesson, though. That's the problem. Hey, but what's going on in Europe is horrendous, but it should be Europe's business. So Europe figures, because they've been slack for a long time, that they probably can't handle it all without the United States. Oh yeah, they like our troops, but they don't like us. Why? Because we're not fully on board with the House of Klaus. And maybe that's why we got all this civil strife in the country right now. Because guess who has funded a certain side? Well, nothing other than folks like Soros, right? However, you know how he got us? Well, he had a lot of money. He's not actually using his own money. He's using your money, taken from the taxpayers and funneled through those NGOs. That's how they were playing that game. That's why a certain side got all upset when we went after the NGOs. That needed to happen. That needed to happen big time. So, what's this comment? Just look how many famous people the year and took. Yep. Now, I think they got a game going that if, they set up their little systems they've been setting up for a long time. If you want to be part of their club, you got to toe their line. But if you toe their line, you're part of your club. They'll promote you and get you in the high levels, make sure you get good contract deals. And if you're an entrepreneur and you're out there doing really well, they probably call you in a back door room somewhere and say, look, bud, you're going to play our game or we're going to end you. We're going to end your business. We're going to wipe you out. I think that happens a lot. And there's this whole thing of blackmail. And, that was the kind of operation that a certain Steenep ran. I'm throwing some words around, kind of twisting them for the sake of the algors that have no rhythm. Yeah. And apparently the Mossad was heavily involved with that. Maybe the CIA. Maybe this is why certain papers have not come out, because they seem to have a special protected status for some reason. What game do they have? Some game above and beyond it? Why is it their stuff gets so protected? Just asking questions. Just seems like it might be that way. Not making any declarative statements here. Make up your own mind. The things are highly suspicious. So it really looks like something big is about to happen in Europe. And DJT and his Department of War secretary probably know all about this. And this is probably why they had that big closed door meeting with the generals. Oh, yeah, some of it was broadcast, but it was a closed door meeting at a secure facility. So I got the feeling that there was something else on the agenda that we didn't hear or see. What was it? Yeah, we know we're probably about to have a war with Venezuela, but that's regional. When you got to call all the generals and admirals in from around the world for something that's regional, maybe part of it's what's happening here on the home front. Here's another thing. You got to remember this. You're supposed to trust no man, no human, not absolutely. Even if they seem to be doing on the balance side of good, keep a close eye on them. Why aren't those files out? Answer me that one. What's going on with when the T-Man when you remember he had a meeting and he announced this thing called Stargate. Remember Ellison been there? And what was he talking about? He was talking about using the AI in it to create brand new mRNA pokies. And DJ T was just in the background smiling. He just thanked Pfizer and told them they did a great job in coming up with that stuff they used in the recent. You don't believe that? Black Scout Survival played the video earlier today where they were actually talking where he was saying it. And you got to remember, he just had a big state dinner in which he had Bill Gates in the house. And they were all just happy, chummy, getting along and agreeing with each other. Guys, there's something in it right. We know Peter Thiel, when Trump ran the first time, he paid for his own campaign. He didn't belong to anybody. Who paid for his campaign this way? Well, Elon Musk to some degree, and also Peter Thiel. And Peter Thiel had a whole lot to do with getting Vance to where he's at. Peter Thiel is all obsessed with Antichrist as he's creating the system that he would very much use. But he kind of acknowledges that. But then he's got some convoluted way or explanation for, I don't know, it's very convoluted. I don't even want to get into it tonight. We may talk about that later. That's another deep topic. But guys, if you smell rats in the woodshed, put a 2 in the chat room. If you think all this is hokey dokey, put a 1 in the chat room, especially if you think I'm just smoking something, which I don't do that. But if you think I am, put a 1 in the chat room. I'd like to see what y'all think about this. Something is not right. But the problem for us is we're on the precipice of war at home and abroad. It's bad enough that we got the divisions in this country, plus we got sleeper cells in here. And then we got China putting up SIM farms to take down entire communication systems across the country. Everything's hacked to the hilt. They put devices in our power grid to shut everything down. So Billy Wayne, and sure you think I'm smoking something, huh? Tell us about it. Anyway, something smells fishy to me. But whatever the case is, here's the bottom line. we're on the precipice of war. Whatever's getting us here, we're on the precipice of war. And like I said, they don't like us. So that may be why we got this civil conflict thing here. They like to use our military, but they don't like us. If you think they love us and like us, put a 3 in the chat room. If you don't, put a 4. Well, Lena's voting a 9. You're way out there. Hey, that's my number, 9. Anyway, that was the number of Odin. Anyway, so it's getting where you've really got to start seriously prepping, my friends. Seriously prepping. Just look at what all we're on the verge of falling into. World War II in Europe. And if we don't get into that one, China. And they're all connected. Civil War at home. Things are getting worse by the day. I mean, look, it's already going kinetic. People are taking aim at people and pulling triggers. Oh, yeah, we just had this case in, I believe it was Chicago, where ICE agents were surrounded by 10 cars and one of them rammed them. Then the lady in the car goes bang, bang. And then they went bang, bang back. And supposedly she drove herself to the hospital. And yet, the governor of Chicago says everything's under control. I mean, look at what that side is trying to do. They're trying to thwart the extradition, the deportation of criminal gang members who are here illegally, who sell stuff that's taken out 250,000 Americans. But that's okay. They're defending them to the hilt. They'll get rid of your law enforcement. They'll take away your means to defend yourself. But yet they're the loving, caring people, and we're haters. Yeah, right. And now they're putting out this narrative that the current president is anti-democracy and democracy is going to fail. Well, we never were a democracy, we're a republic. But whatever the case is, they say it's all going to fall and the Constitution is going to fall, but they totally ignore the whole things that was going on under President Taterhead, where he was going to all these big tech companies and telling them to not allow people on their platforms to say certain things, to squelch down what was being said. Oh, yeah, I've been on the receiving end of that. No, that didn't happen. I mentioned it on Facebook, and I got guys from the other side. Oh, that never happened. Oh, my God. See, really, here's the problem. Everybody's got their own worldview. They get their news from one side, but they don't see what's going on the other side. So now they're whipping up this narrative, claiming that the other side is doing what they did all along. Well, that kind of thing ain't good from either side. I believe in freedom. Neither side should be taking away freedoms. And I think there's some issues on both sides, although I'd rather have the T-Man than to have Taterhead or Kamala by a long shot, but still, at least seems to be going after some of these big agencies and getting some of the bad people out of this country. That's what he was elected to do. Although some people want to thwart that and stop it everywhere they can. Why is that? It's we are in a bad spot. That's all I can say. Really bad spot. And when I see what people are posting, oh yeah, like I said, because I've got my Facebook friends came from many sectors, including organic gardening and space industry, conservative stuff too. But and inside these industries, in other world, you get both kinds. You get people on both sides of the spectrum. So I got Facebook friends that are on both sides of the spectrum. I'll post something, and it's like kicking a hornet's nest. These guys jump on there, and some of you guys have seen some of that. Some of you are on my Facebook friends list, and it's maxed out right now. But yeah, they come from a totally different place. Their worldview is vastly different. And unfortunately, been spoon-fed a lot of hooey, and a lot of them actually believe that hooey, and they're not even aware of what's going on the other side, not even aware of it. But in any event, what's happened though is that, when you see people celebrating that somebody being taken out, that's sick. That is sick. Either way, but they're the ones that's really celebrating. Who remember the actress that had somebody's head held up, in effigy back on his first administration? Well, they thought that was okay. So yeah, and it's getting worse. It's getting worse. It's really coming to a crescendo. This is why you need to be situationally aware, because you know they've they walked up to people wearing a red hat and went bang behind their head. Person didn't know anybody was behind them, but it wasn't situationally aware. Kind of like that Ukrainian girl on that bus, train, or whatever it was she was on. She was on that phone. She was totally unaware of what was about to happen to her. You need to look around. Do this stuff when you're outside. You need to know what's behind you, what's to the sides. It's something shifty. And the best thing to do is get the heck out of Dodge. It ain't worth it. It ain't worth it. Because here's the fact. All things being equal, that side's losing. That's why they're reacting so violently. That's what you do. Caged animal gets violent. Most of the people here are waking up and we're saying we don't want this. And whether the T-man leads us or he falls off into the influences of the Ellison and Peter Thiel remains to be seen. But whether he does or not, we are still where we're at, and we're the majority, and we're mobilizing, and we're just not going to put up with a lot of stuff anymore. We don't need any more stings up. Now, twist that around like the word nug, okay? You know what I'm talking about. So we don't need that kind of mess in this world anywhere. We might be able to do something about it in this country, but I'm telling you, they don't love us. And this may, in a World War III, really work against us. It's going to get ugly. That's what they want. And it's our job to prep and pray. The power of prayer is powerful. But so, there is in Revelations this notion of a deception, the great deception. The great deception is going to be so great that even the elect would fall for it. By the word elect, I don't mean elite, they mean followers of Christ, devout followers. This deception is going to be so finely crafted that all kind of people be falling for it. Now, is that something like the T-man? We think that he's going to rescue us, and maybe he turns around and does something different. I've really got my eyes open. I don't know, because when you hobnobbing with the likes of Gates and Thiel and Ellison, I already got to wonder, my friends, when you're sweeping certain files under the rug, I got to wonder. Now, I take what we got right now over what the alternative was last November any day, but still, there's something that I say you better keep your eyes on. Trust no man. That's what I've been warning you about for a long time. But all that aside, maybe the deception's something else. Maybe it's a false second coming. The devil is supposed to take over the world for 7 years. Now, is that war in heaven where the demons are cast out in the past or the future? Or is it present tense? I don't think we really know it. I had a hard time making sense out of it. I'm sure a lot of people know, well, it was absolutely this. Somebody else said, no, because this is absolutely that. You'll hear all kind of stuff. But what if suddenly we see this great arrival in the sky? And they tell us, remember the old idea of Project Blue Beam? What if they don't need a blue beam? What if something's actually coming? And they tell us that they're the second coming. Maybe they're not. Well, if God and Jesus is coming back, they're not going to sneak up on us. I guarantee you that. Well, it'll happen, they say, like a thief in the night, but it won't be. They got to go hide behind the sun to pull off whatever they're doing. I don't know what this 3 Atlas thing is, but I think it's probably just a natural object. I've said it many times, but there's some funny things about it. It's probably just a funny natural object. If that thing slows down, look out. What's on board? It may come, tell us this came and timed it. Just look, it's the timing of it's also coincident. Well, this World War III mess. Are they going to come back to save us from ourselves? Only to enshackle us? What would it be? I don't know. Don't trust anything right now. That's my bottom line. I'm thinking this thing will just keep going and I'll never see it again. I'm just painting, looking at possibilities here. You know, when you got to worry about some great deception, you got to have your mind open to what it might be and where it may come from so you can be prepared for it. That's my point. Not that that's going to happen or this is going to happen. I'm not saying that. I don't talk in certitudes usually, except I did say the price of food was going up long way back. And I don't know how we're going to get out of all this war mess, quite frankly. So I'm just putting these pictures out here for you to think about. Something may be fishy. Something may go down. Maybe it ain't from that thing, but maybe they use this as an excuse to pull something else off and claim it was from that. That might be a blue beam. Or whatever else. You know, they may have something up their sleeve. You know, guys, I don't know. Right now, don't let anything surprise you because we've seen crazy stuff. Crazy stuff happen fast. In the year 2019, when that year started, if somebody told you in 2 years half the people would be genetically modified, you would have laughed uproariously and said, "You are crazy. No way." But look what happened. Look what happened. Things can change fast. All they got to do is scare people. This thing's coming around and it's going to knock everybody out. That's what it looked like when we first saw data from China. It looked like it was having a horrendous effect, and maybe it did over there. And no, it wasn't good. I lost a brother to it. But you know, they will like to use fear to run you and herd you into a direction that causes you to give up your freedoms and liberties, or to accept something blindly, something you might not have otherwise accepted. They'll use it to get other people on board with them, to hound you into doing it, whatever it is. Maybe taking Tony Blair's son's Mark as being promoted by Keir Starmer. So I just want to get you guys aware of the kind of things we're looking at, the kind of things we're facing, that this stuff could go down any minute. I mean, just look at Europe right now. Constant, everyday top story about drones. True or not, every day. Drones, aircraft, now balloons. Now, balloons can pose a real, very significant threat. You can go back and see my videos on Chinese military EMP balloon threat, military balloon threats for how they could be used in warfare. It's really pretty incredible what you can do with a balloon because for full altitude, there ain't nothing on these aircraft that's going to shoot them down that we got at the moment. The ones they shot down were the ones that were purposely flying at lower altitude so they could do intel gathering. But I put a balloon design out there on one of my videos. I designed a system that could do a sneak attack EMP. But you know, it wasn't nothing I did put out there they weren't already aware of. Because they're already dropping drones from balloons, and they got hypersonic aircraft mock-up they were dropping from balloons. China was. That turns out these balloons in question this time come from Russia. They were just small weather balloons, not the bigger ones, just the smaller ones. And they had packages of fake cigarettes that supposedly trying to be smuggled. I don't even make sense. Why are you going to smuggle fake cigarettes from Belarus, country that don't have freedom, into Lithuania? That's fishy. Really fishy. What was that really all about? There was no threat. Not really, but you know, balloons can pose a threat, but not those little balloons. Well, you could probably drop a drone from one. But packages of fake cigarettes, there's something weird about that. I don't know. That's just odd. About a dozen of these, all at once, somebody sends a dozen balloons across international borders into a hostile territory. It would be hostile to seeing such a thing come in, and they're trying to smuggle out fake cigarettes. Uh, there's just something about that. I thought when I first heard this balloon thing, I started to do a story and I got looking at it, it's like, no, no, this is nuts. That's why you didn't see me roll out a video, balloon threat from Russia, blah, blah, blah. No, I looked at that and said, no. This is pathetic. What is that? That's crazy. Uh, there can be a balloon threat, but that wasn't it. Maybe they were just testing NATO responses to having balloons come in. That's possible. That's entirely possible. Because balloons can be a real threat vector. Told you that. That could be what it was all about, but there's a lot of fishy stuff going on. But any day now we could have a mistake. Any side can make a mistake and cause somebody else to take a shot that will escalate things into full-blown war. That's how a lot of wars are gotten into. Or we could have a banner not so true. But like I said, they're trying to pull in the United States. Let's hope we don't go there. So what I want to ask of you guys is go to freedomrestorationfoundation.org, go to the Action Center tab, scroll down and find how to contact your Congress critters and the president. Call and write or email them. Letter writing's best, but it's not if you got to get through fast. Say, no, we don't want no part of this. Get us out. Get us out. We don't even want to say, we don't even be part of NATO. Because it's a lopsided alliance. It's all from us to them. And they're trying to pull us in stuff we got no business being in my humble opinion. Now, if you disagree with that, put a 5 in the chat room. If you agree, put a 6. Well, that's what y'all think about that. So, in any event, I just want to come out here and talk about the kinds of things we're facing. We're facing World War II. It could start any day. And World War II will come home to us. And it may come on long before ballistic missiles. It could be EMP, sleeper cell attacks, some farms getting set off. Of course, we get involved with Russia, then China's going to be happy. They're probably going to move into Taiwan as fast as they can go. And then North Korea will suddenly be happy, then go into South Korea. Our troops overseas everywhere are going to be in all kind of world harm, especially since we've been essentially disarming ourselves, playing whack-a-mole with the Houthis and using our armaments for everything else other than defending ourselves. So we're way outside our sphere of where we ought to be. Our founding fathers warned us against international entanglements. They said, don't do it. Don't go there. Yet we're all entangled everywhere. Everywhere. Crazy. I bet they're spinning in their graves right now when they're seeing where our country's heading. But then again, they didn't think the Republic would last this long. So, but it has done it in a very compromised way. Ever since 1913, we've been compromised. And that compromise has got worse by the year. And for those that don't know what happened in 1913, go look it up. Look up Jekyll Island. How about that? Anyway, that might be a good start. So, guys, seriously, there's things you can do. Like I said, go to the Action Center tab on freedomrestorationfoundation.org. If you're in the United Kingdom, sign that petition. But you also better be prepping. You need to kind of open your eyes for what this big deception is going to be. I don't know. If I knew, it wouldn't be a deception, would it? But I certainly got my eyes on what is it? Where's it coming from? Now, that's probably, 100 different people tell you, well, I know exactly what it is. And you're going to get 100 different answers and they're going to even be close together. It's going to be a spectacular deception if it'll deceive the elect, excuse me, not elite. So I say, watch out. Keep your eyes wide open, head on a swivel beyond all things, especially as tension builds at home. And right now, all the Western countries have got all kind of internal strife. They wanted to basically destroy your national identities so they could get rid of nations. So they could put it all together in one big global happy family where you take the implants and you own nothing. You have no privacy, but you're happy. You're right. You've lost your soul. You're plugged in. You're a robot. If they deem you worth keeping around. And, the whole lot of them will at some point be deemed useless eaters, but once they're in the system, when they turn off the power switch, oh, you won't even know it. And what difference is it going to make? Because you're going to be a zombie already anyway. So, into the zombiehood. That's where they're trying to hurt us. I got no interest in being a zombie myself. Do you? Lord, you remember in the movie The Matrix, that one guy who kind of sold out because he thought, well, this is tough, but if I go back to the Matrix, I can have steak dinners every night. Yeah, right. Until they want to throw the switch off. So, anyway, I just wanted to bring this out here because we're facing this imminently. But there's things you can do. And it's not known that we'll go down that road. Absolutely. You got to remember, Jonah, his job was to prophesy against Nineveh. Prophecy was that they were going to be crispy critters like, Sodom and Gomorrah, apparently. But they repented, they changed. The purpose of prophecy, word, is to get you to change your ways, change how you see things, be prepared, wake up. So, and that's what I'm bringing to you. There is hope still, even though if you look at everything, it don't look good by any stretch of the imagination. And you better be prepping and praying. Make yourself right with your maker. Tell your family members you love them or anybody you love. And try to make peace with people, even that neighbor that you, or maybe that person on the other side of the political aisle that hates your guts because you see things differently. At one time, y'all might have been friends. Maybe you still are. But, somehow we've got to put the fire out. You got to douse some water on this mess. Get some reality into the situation. And how is that best done? By dialogue, just like Charlie Kirk was doing. Like I say, any idea that can't survive in the marketplace of free ideas and open discussion is fundamentally flawed. And you got to shut down the other discussion to keep your idea alive. It means your idea no worky. So you might need to look in the mirror. If that's how you think about things, you got to force things to be shut down for your idea to survive, then your idea is bankrupt. So enough of that. So basically, get ready. This wasn't a night I need to pull up articles. I could have thought up all kind of articles, the evidence of what I'm talking about, but I just wanted to come from the heart. Probably tomorrow night or next time I might be on Green Reg showing you how we're falling down this slope toward the war. What's going on? It's a real popular topic, and it does help wake people up. But that's why I put that stuff out there. It's just to wake people up and to help dial in the gauge for when this stuff might happen. Guys, it could be imminent. It could happen any day. One false flag and game's on. Does the United States get pulled into it? Maybe, maybe not. They certainly want to pull us in. Ukraine wants to pull everybody in. Those are getting hammered. They want to. Oh yeah, Ukraine wanted to close the sea there. What do you call it? I'm getting brain locked right now. I'm going to call it the other sea above it. The Baltic. They want to close the Baltic. Sea where Russians can't go through. That's the only good way they got to get out the Atlantic now. That'd be an act of war. And Russia would retaliate with something. You've killed their economy. Yeah, sure. Ukraine will like that because it would shut the Russian economy down, and Russia would respond, well, just like a blockade. It's an act of war. So, and if NATO did that, then NATO would officially be at war with Russia. But that's what Ukraine's asking for, and every way they can, they're trying to get us into the war. And it looks like the European leaders want to take us there. I hope I'm wrong, but it's all for the house of Klaus. But it didn't really start with Klaus, not by a long shot. He's just been one of the people that have really spread the idea. Anyway, enough of that said. I'm gonna look at the chat room here. So that's the news portion for our coffee club members that watch in the morning. I just wanted to make people aware of where we're at, the dire situation of it all, and let you know there are still things you can do. That's a lot of other channels don't talk about. And how many other people that have a channel set up a website for you to take action? They're usually just trying to sell you some beans or something. I've done that too because you do need to buy some beans. But you can get a lot of what you need from, big box stores. Just hope you get stuff that's safe and clean these days. Hard to do. But anyway, all right, my friends. Yeah, you can because, hey, look, grid goes down, money's no good. That's at some point. You need something you can barter. You might want to go to Defy the Grid and check out the Goldbacks there and use the discount code Green Gregs. Get 1% off. All right, let me see some stuff. I don't know if I read everything. I do have to go. Wow, we got a lot of chat in here. How come we got in room 80? You guys are chatty tonight. That's good. I know I didn't scroll to the top because the first thing I'm seeing is Billy Wayne Norwood talking about the U.S. government question mark. Yeah, there's a lot to question there. Oh, yeah. And I know that wasn't the first comment in chat tonight. So let's see. Lordy, I'm getting sleepy and I got to get in a little bit. Yes, I'm an engineer. You're right, Billy. You're right. They weren't just German. Brad Pitt. Lordy. Easy swellers. Yeah, we need to take it easy. I just want everybody to be ready for whatever may come. And I will never comply. Netizens. CIA World War II were from the small hats. Tom says, "Chow, you gone?" Platoon, there you go. Let's see, I gotta speed this up. I probably can't read every comment tonight. You got a lot of stuff here. Yeah, Jeff K files. There's another good question. They released dribbles of this stuff. They dribble some out to you. We haven't seen everything come out. Not full disclosure. Oh yeah, Tim Burchett. He's claiming that he has seen intel that says that there's undersea bases of things that aren't human. He's talking about craft as big as a football field and go 200 miles an hour underwater. We ain't got nothing like that. What is it? Rez has a Neuralink. Oh, I don't know, Chewy. He's close to Elon, but no, he ain't got one yet. There's just a few people got him so far. But he might get one. I bet Elon would give him one. Yikes. Ooh, Obi. There's a difference between knowing the path and walking the path. Amen. And that applies to spiritual matters, but that applies to prepping. Talk about it all day. But are you doing anything? I moved. I did something big. What are you doing? Yikes. Club of Rome. Yes. But it preceded that even. Preceded that even. But you know, who started that? Um, David Rockefeller. David Rockefeller. Also, just like Klaus Schwab, they both said China had the system that the whole world needed to model, emulate. You know, social credit and all that control regime they got over there. Oh, they love that kind of stuff. They want to take it to the next level. You know, for Klaus Schwab, you put a chip in, become a robot. Oh, that's true. These days, it's more than just drugs. People. It's like slave trade. And for some reason, the Democrats are okay. Let them come in. Let them do whatever they want to do. No, no, you can't deport them. Oh, yeah, and by the way, pay for their health care while they're here. Yeah, right. So crazy stuff, crazy stuff. Hey, Raspberry. Battle between good and evil. Yes, Tom. Yeah, I'm getting sleepy here. I'm starting to get yawny. I got to get up a little bit. I've been here since he started this channel. All right. Thank you. Just never usually comment. All right, Lena, good. Good to hear from you. No, I don't work for the Fed government. I was working as a contractor for NASA for a while, but not NASA direct. But I don't even do that. I'm working on a commercial space station. It's commercial. So I got nothing to do with the government anymore, not even as a contractor. I'm trying to say sign guys over to me. Yeah. Well, you know, this whole idea of the peace deal, I've seen a lot of people think that's prophetic out of the book of Revelations. I covered it in my last video here. Billy Wayne, I was a contractor, subbed to the government. I worked for a company at the time. It was not government. I've never, I was a civil servant once back when I was in college under the Army, but I've not been a civil servant since. That was just for a couple of years working for missile defense, believe it or not. But I've not been a contract, I've not been government since. And as a contractor, you're in a different boat. So I've never been government since then. I was in the Army at one time. Yeah, they had me then, but I'm not in the military. I don't work for the military. I don't work for NASA. I am working on a commercial space station. I was working at Billy Wayne. I was working as a contractor, not NASA. Contractor for NASA, but I was not NASA. There's a big difference, really is. Yes, Colorado Jan, that's what I expected. The Antichrist comes first. So that's a discernment right there. Suddenly Christ shows up, all this stuff hadn't happened, and you see the world in the sad shape it is now. Whoa, you better be looking whoever that is. You know, and whether they tell us some good, but there'd be all kind of people saying over the Christ. He's over here, he's over there. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So that's that's a good catch there, Colorado Jen. Exactly right. Revelation works hand in hand with Daniel. True. Old Test working with New Test to explain things to come. I think the best part of the Old Testament is the prophecies in it. I don't think. I got to wonder if the Pharisees and some of those priests reworded some of the books in there, but those prophecies, yeah, Daniel seems to hit stuff pretty head on. Daniel, Ezekiel. I hear you, New Days. I don't want any of those bucking wrenches running around my cytoplasm. See, that's the kind of stuff that gateway program is supposed to be all about. And oh yeah, what was Billy Goats Gates talking about in the White House? Oh yeah, new stuff. Yeah. Well, we got Yoda in the house. All this, you didn't think the injection was a part of it. I think it's a good test because if you'll take that, you'll probably take the other. If you didn't take that, you might not take the other. There'll be a lot more pressure to take the mark. But I think the real one is associated with a loyalty. You basically are pledging a loyalty to whoever gives it to you. And there's the problem. You pledge your loyalty to the forces of darkness, they're gone. Great, Timothy Bill. Didn't say I trust Musk. Musk is a little too in with the Chinese for my taste. I think he's done some good things. I agree with some of the things he says and try to push on. But what I say earlier, I said trust no man. Wow, we got glitched. Maybe don't like what I'm saying. We got gremlins in the system. Holy guac smoking. I hope I'm still on here. The content of this meeting is being sent to YouTube. Okay. Wow. Yes, they glitched me, guys. They glitched me. You probably don't like what I'm saying. So I don't know if it's Zoom, YouTube, or the aliens, demons. I don't know. So, all right. I'm trying to get through this chat room here. Creature. Yeah, you're talking about the beast. Jason Schmidt. You want to lead us, Billy Wayne? Follow you where? Clay B. Esquire, the urban attorney. Good morning, Greg. I've been sub to you for a long time, but I'm too old and grouchy to get in the chats most of the time. I think the distraction is going to be a fake UFO on the meteor. That's a possibility. Whether there's anything on that meteor or not, they may generate something and sail us in there. Yeah. The timing is interesting. Maybe they know about this thing coming all along. Maybe that's why all this worker shindo's been up now. I don't know. Oh, what happened there? I smell something blue beamy. Something don't smell good, whatever it is. Hmm. Listen, Greg, listen, you can tell us the news. Lots of people are doing this every day, but nobody else on this platform that I'm aware of has created a place for you to go and lodge your opinion with the Congress critters. And I paid for it. I still pay for it. I pay for that website, freedomrestorationfoundation.org. We also got a group on Facebook. We got over 1,000, about 1,100 members now. Enjoying that. Folks share a lot of information on that. So I worked all my life just to retire a couple of years ago for all of this. Yeah, exactly. I'm trying to get where I can retire. Yeah, it has been a control method for centuries, John. That's why the big organized anything, power corrupts and absolute power corrupts, absolutely. Being religion or companies or being government. What did Jesus tell us? He said the kingdom of God is within you. So why do you got to go somebody else to get forgiveness? I think if the kingdom of God is within you, if you are the temple, I think you can pray and be heard. Calling Ed's brother, who owns the banks? Well, yeah. There you go. And how did the Red Shields start? By loaning money to governments. Am I talking about when I say Red Shields? The Rothschilds. Yes, Billy Wayne, that's what I'm doing. I'm telling you guys to be prepared. Britain is falling. Well, that's pretty darn close. There's a big petition going around. There's a lot of unhappy campers there. You go to any country, the populace really don't want this stuff. The people in China don't want what they got on them. And the people in Europe are not happy with their government bleeders. And they're trying to pull us all into war. Tom, I believe something is here watching us, but I stopped telling people about things I've seen. Hate being called nuts. Tom, you're not nuts. You're not nuts. They want to call you nuts because they don't want it out. Well, we write a new constitution, we might lose some of our freedoms. You got to be careful of that. I believe any days always, says Tom. And they said, bye. Okay, Tom, thanks for being here. Here, I've been looking for the two witnesses. Yeah, me too. That should be interesting. The best part of the Bible for me is Psalms. Everything you need for a spiritual warfare, healing, and curses. Yea, even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil. For my nug, for I have a nug in each pocket. I gotta have a little fun, guys. Come on. Yeah, I was frozen. Amen, Buckeye Jim. Trust no man. That's part of the point. Don't look, everybody's looking for a Calvary or this person to save us, that person to save us. Be right with your maker and be prepared. That's the best thing you can do. Brother, I'm pagan, anyhow, more druid than following a death cult. Look, You know, what they're trying to put on us, well, I don't care what your religion is, what they're trying to put on us affects us all. I mean, we're talking a control system beyond belief. That was supposed to say, good grief, Greg. Oh, I didn't see what it was that you said. Did somebody delete it? I've had a vision. It's humanoid aliens and their tech is very basic, but they got here. We can advance their tech massively. Uh, well, all they really need to get here is technology like we conceived of back in the 60s, the Innsman drive. You can go anywhere with the Innsman drive, and it just takes you a little time. That's what I want to know, John. Thank you for sharing that, New Days. Media swept small meter hitting a house nearby. Oh, okay, Jim. Yep. This is not a religious channel. I mean, I've taught prophecy, but hey, I've taught Nordic stuff in here too sometimes. Prophecy is interesting. Prophecy is interesting. I almost got the bottom of the chat room. UK just tell their people to get on digital ID or cannot work. Yes. But you know what? Russia is also rolling out a digital thing for their phones and they're requiring everybody to have it. Jesus didn't come to start a religion. Now it was to teach a way of life. That I agree with. And I also think, he came, what did he attack? He attacked the religious leaders of his time, the Pharisees. That's who he went after. I kind of suspect that when Rome organized the Christian religion, they did it in a Pharisee manner. I'm not saying that's for sure, but I'm kind of suspecting that. I don't know. What do y'all think? I'll be curious to know what y'all think about that. But if it's anything organized, it's got prospects of going in directions that it should not ought to go. I didn't say make yourself right with your church. I said make yourself right with your maker. And I'm not specifying who your maker is or how you got to do that. Okay. So have I done that? Anyway. Yeah, Jesus was a rebel. The ecumenical movement is going, yes, Lena, I agree. So that's what they're going to use. They're going to use the church. Absolutely. They're going to use the church to set this stuff up. And that may be what the Great Deception is all about. I don't know. We still got to figure this Great Deception out. Let's hope we don't miss it. Let's hope we don't fall for something. They scared them out of a lot of people back in the 50s, and they played the War of the Worlds. Unreal. Yeah, that was actually in the 30s. That happened in the 30s. And 19. Now, H.G. Wells wrote the book at the end of the 1800s. But Orson Welles readapted, and it was supposed to take place in United Kingdom. Orson Welles adapted the story for something that would happen in New Jersey and broadcast it as a radio play. At the beginning, they said exactly what it was, and every now and then they stated it, during breaks. But people heard that broadcast and went crazy in the 1930s, almost 100 years ago. People thought we had an alien invasion. Now, I got to confess, I love the way Wayne, what's his name? Brain lock. Oh, shoot. It was redone as a rock and roll opera by Wayne, what's his name? Wayne. Somebody help me out in the chat. And I know somebody knows what I'm talking about. Um, shoot. Must be getting old or something. It's happening to me too much. Uh, and he recast it back for happening when H.G. Wells wrote it, in the 1800s. And it's beautiful. It's beautiful music. Uh, the whole thing is it's musical and tells quite a story. It's something to follow. It's really great. No, not Bruce Wayne, not Batman. Oh, what's his last name? Wayne's his first name. Wayne. Yikes! What's his name? It's a beautiful piece. I mean, if you get a chance to hear it, you don't usually get it all at one time. You usually get it broken up or bits and pieces if you find it on the internet. But if you get the whole thing, it's Jeff Wayne. Jeff Wayne. I don't know. Then War of the Worlds. No, not Wayne Newton. Yeah, Richard Burton narrates. You're right. Now they had a later one, Liam Neeson narrate, but Burton narrated is best. That's the best one. That's exactly right. Sprung Spar. Anyway, it's it's fun to listen to. So if you get a chance to listen to it, do it. It's well done, good production. Anyway, all right, we're about to close down here. I got to hit the hay. So, all right, egg guess. How many eggs did I get today? How many eggs did I harvest? I got 12 hens. Some days are better than others. I got 4 yesterday. What did I get today? First person guesses that will say you're the winner. Jeff Wayne. Okay. Forever Autumn. Yeah, that's a beautiful song in it. Forever Autumn. You're right. A lot of beautiful. The music's beautiful. And when I first heard it, I just heard the soundtrack. Now sometimes you can get it with video. The video's fetching too. Keep guessing. Nobody got it yet. Nobody got it yet. Come on. Keep guessing. Keep guessing. Nobody hit it yet. Wasn't the best night, but I did get something. There's a big hint. 1970s, there was a massive ice age scare. Yep. Keep guessing. Bingo, Space Girl, you got it first, and followed by Zen. Only got 1 egg this time. That's 7 eggs one night, 6 eggs one night, but tonight, yet today, there was only 1. Just the 1. It all varies. I may get a bunch tomorrow. I hope I do. No, I wasn't no 13. Just 1. Just 1. Yep. That was it. 0. No, I got an egg. I was wondering if I went this morning, there were none. I check them twice today because I figure if I leave them in the morning, they might crush them or something. Because I did get a broken egg on one occasion. So I try to check them twice today. Just 1. So that's again, Space Girl, you won it. Zen Jammin', you get second place, but Space Girl put it in first. So that's how we play the game. It was just 1. But hey, they're laying them faster and I can eat them. So I'm not hurting. Not hurting at all. I don't wash them because they'll last a lot longer if you don't wash them. You don't have to refrigerate them. They last a while. Y'all still guessing what for? was good to see you, Greg. Thanks, Carol. Let me check the see if anybody's lurking in here and sending me anything through my website. We got any super chats? I want to give credit. If there's any credit. Yeah. Let's see. I got to log into the other. Oh, we got a donation. Kim Possible. She's hiding in the chat room. That's why I check, guys. Kim Possible. $25. Select Kim Possible. Thank you for the donation, the super chat through my website. Thank you. All righty. Very good. Thank you so much. That's why I checked. But one night I forgot to check. I got tired and it was late and I didn't see you in the chat room. And then there it was. So you get credit for that one too. Very good. I'm glad I checked. So glad. Like I said, I like to give credit where credit's due. I hope you're still in the house and hear me. So, we're in my chat room. I'm going to try to pull it back up. Whoa, Carol! Awesome. Thank you, Carol. $9.99. $9.99. Yes, thank you both. It's impossible saying that. I hope she heard us here. Hope she hadn't left already. Anyway, Billy Wayne, Greg, know what it's about to happen. That iOS is why he is where he's at. Alrighty. Thank you, Jason, for calling for the thumbs up. Yeah, Kim Possible's always, if she's around, she usually gives a super chat. I have not seen her not, but then she don't always, chime in. So I just like to give credit where credit's due. Like I said. And we got a super sticker here. That's what that is. Got this flying green peanut looking thing. Super, whatever it is. Like green peanut. I don't know what that is. But it's a flying water glass. There you go. We're about to call it a night here. Get away from the big cities. Amen, Billy Wayne. You're exactly. There's Kim Possible. Like I said, I'm not lurking. I'm working. Oh, okay. Lurking's okay too, and working's good. All righty, folks. Kim, thank you so much. I just didn't know if you heard me. All right, because I do want to give credit where credit's due and recognize people when they're generous. So I appreciate that. I'll take my shoes off. Feet are hot. In event, my video stopped there. Listen, Greg is telling us we are in dark times. We are. These times are very dark right now. So that's why you better do some praying. Prep and pray. But you can also take some action, like I said. But yeah, consider the gold back. So gold's going up and you just don't seem to stop. It could stop and go the other way. But it don't look like it. Anyway. All right, my friends. I really want to thank all y'all for being here. So thank you, Carol and Kim, both for your super chats tonight. Thank you, everyone. You mods, I see y'all took some action. Some people try to get a little ugly in here. Trolls don't last in my chat room. I'm in the morning, June bug and a pack of chickens. And a flock of chickens. Yeah. Trolls don't last in my room, so they don't usually even bother to come here anymore because they know you guys dispatch them real fast. And at one time, we used to get hit by a lot of them. They'd come in droves, and you guys would just be flipping them over your shoulders, one after another, like the guy walking through the SeaTac airport in a movie Airplane. Been there, saw all that, or whatever airport they were in. I saw it in the SeaTac years ago. But anyway. Yeah. All the hair creationers and fusion energy guys chasing you down to try to get you. It sounds like all the phone calls we get these days from spam, right? Anyway, again, I want to thank everyone here for watching. Share my videos, please. and we're going to have to go. Maybe Alberta will separate from Canada and become a separate country. Might be a good idea. Might be the best option. Everybody is going to join the United States. That might be a good idea too, but separate country, that's, yeah, you definitely don't want to be in Canada. I don't believe so. Thanks, Greg. Have a great day. Thank you, Chewy. Lena, appreciate all you for being here tonight, for participating. We are a family. So with that, I am going to say, once again, let's see if this don't kill the video immediately. It should not. There we go. Again, thank you, super chatters. Thank you, mods. Thank you, everyone, for watching. To one and all, a good night, good day, wherever you are. And remember, Granny Atlanta, ho, ho, ho.